So for the second question, I've chosen, does Berkeley have a compelling answer to the problem of evil? Is it more or less compelling than Leibniz's answer, and how so? To define the problem of evil, I'm gonna go more with the experiential problem of evil, which is if there's pain and suffering, how is that justified? If there's a good God, that simply put, Berkeley at first glance has a really hard problem dealing with this because of what I call the problem of closeness. What I mean by the problem of closeness is that since we all are in such close proximity to God, if no material things exist, just our minds, and we're in God's mind, then we're very close to Him. There's no middleman anymore. We can't. We don't have a God the tinkerer, like Descartes put it. So the pain and suffering holds more weight to it. If God is directly giving us all these sensations of pain and suffering, how is He not sadistic? He must enjoy it. But I think I can somewhat defend Berkeley in this by saying it's all about the exact same consequences. So there's justice for God in the sense that He sets up the universe or our perception in such a way that we always experience things with the exact same consequences. So when I fall and hit my knee, then the consequences have always been the same. The laws haven't changed. Nothing's changed. My experience is always the same. And I think there's justice in for God in that. But a lot of this lies in the fundamentality of free will. So there's still choices that we get to make. Pain and suffering come, and the justiceness of the system and integrity of the system stays the same. But for Leibniz, I think the key difference between them, because Leibniz says this is the best of all possible worlds. So all the pain, all the suffering that happens in this world is the best because, well, God's omniscient and He knows what's best, and He's actualized the best world. Berkeley, I think the biggest distinction between them is the omniscience, like I said. And so God either, one, He's separate, and He knows that everything, this is the best possible world because He's just brilliant. But Acts 17:28, which is like Berkeley's favorite verse, states, we live and move in God, in His being. And so this is very important. So His omniscience, I'm going to quote here Tillamook, but His omniscience comes from this. Berkeley's God is omniscient since He literally has everything in His mind. Is omnipotent since He literally directly makes all things real. Every sensation, everything is derived from God. So His omniscience is more personal. And it's not as hard to explain, especially with medieval concepts of God. And they had a big problem with omniscience. Berkeley has a defense. He has, I think, a defense in the integrity of the system, the justness of the system. But they still got this problem of closeness that's really hard to deal with. So Leibniz, I think, more sufficiently answers the question because he has less criticism from the problem of evil. He can justify it by saying, well, God's omniscient. He did this. He's separate. This is the best world. Like, it could be worse, but this, because of free will, because of everything we have, this is the best world. Well, Berkeley is still stuck with, this can't be said the best world. It might be. I don't know if Berkeley comments on that, but look at the consequences around us. Look at pain and suffering that's around us. It can be justified by its equality for all.